All right, welcome back, everyone. Thank you for bearing with us. First day back after the long NBA All-Star break. Obviously, had to iron out a few technical difficulties. Really appreciate those of you who hung around and are still here. We will get all these games covered. 7-game slate tonight. There are a few late games that aren't on the main. We saw a few questions about those. If you remind me at the end, I'll try to touch on them quickly. But focus is the main slate. 7 games. Great to be back, Jayhawk. How do you feel about this slate coming in here?
Yeah, man, welcome back to the NBA. Very fun slate tonight. Lots to talk about. Your boy Dayron Sharp, we need to talk about, but let's get it started here.
Yep. A few guys. I wish I could get to all the shout outs today, guys, but we got to go quick. So shouts out to Chuck and Smitty and Cards in here. Everyone giving me a hard time. It's deserved. I don't know if I messed up the link or it got messed up over the break. Either way, we're here now. Enough about that. We are in the present moment. First game on the slate, we have the Atlanta Hawks taking on the Philadelphia 76ers, a massive 240.5 point total here. Sixers are slight favorites at home, but they're missing a few key pieces. Still going to start with the road team, though, and that is Atlanta. Really no major injuries for them. Jonathan Kuminga, who they acquired at the trade deadline, is going to be out. Obviously got rid of one Kristaps Porzingis, but this is a healthy team for the most part. It is a good matchup. We see the high total. Noah Embiid obviously improves the matchup in terms of what they're dealing with on defense on the other side. But yeah, Jalen Johnson, as always, was the case before the break. It's the case now that we're back. 14.5, OF index score, the highest on the entire slate, ahead of guys like Wemby, Cade, Donovan Mitchell. He looks absolutely excellent here. If you can afford him, on FanDuel, the price makes it kind of tough to get there, but getting him sub 10% does make a lot of sense. Other than that, man, I really don't have a ton of interest. Like, you could make a case for a Congo on FanDuel where he's forward eligibility. All the guards are okay. But to me, Jalen Johnson is going to be a big part of my night. I think he's under-owned on FanDuel. And on DK, I'm going to continue to pay this price tag at 10-4 until it continues to rise, Jayhawk. How do you feel about the Hawks here in Philly?
Yeah, man, you know the drill. Jalen Johnson, I think he looks fantastic once again here. Good price point, just a great producer. So love Jalen in tournaments. The only other guy I did want to shout out here is Dyson Daniels, particularly on FanDuel. I think the steal and block upside very high for him over there. So Dyson and Jalen were the two guys I was getting the most here.
Yeah, good call on Dyson. It looks like his price has come down. I know he was over 7K or floating around 7K before the break, but just 6,400 DK, 68 on FanDuel. Where we have that stock upside, definitely a good play there. Over on Philadelphia, already mentioned, no Joel Embiid tonight. Obviously, that's going to be significant. No Paul George either. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They look pretty good here. We've seen big games out of Maxey with Embiid off the floor. No Paul George is also going to help his usage, but he hasn't been the Tyrese Maxey that he was earlier in the season. So I do think compared to some of the other pay-ups, he's a bit overowned. Again, more popular than Jalen Johnson in the same game. He's a little bit cheaper, but more than double the ownership on DK and quadruple it over on FanDuel. I would like to pivot even within this game to try to get some leverage. I like Oubre. I'm fine getting to Edgecombe. We can hope his minutes continue to be amongst the highest in the league. Not really interested in guys like Barlow, Grimes, although they are cheap enough that you can definitely mix them in. It's just any like popular chalk value on this slate I'm going to try to get away from, just because first slate back, I think there's a lot of good mid-range plays, especially at center. We'll talk about in a little bit. But I do like Maxey here. I do like Oubre and Edgecombe. I'd like to come in a little bit under on the secondary pieces, guys like Barlow, Grimes, Bona. Jayhawk, how do you feel about the 76ers in this spot?
Yeah, I think the Sixers look pretty good here. Starting with Maxey, I love him here, both sides. Pretty good spot for Maxey, so love Maxey. And then I think Edgecombe is my second favorite click here. Good price, good matchup. So love the guards, Edgecombe and Maxey. And then Kelly Oubre, I do like him as a player. I don't know if I love the ownership here tonight, but he isn't playing the mid-tier. And then I'm with you. Bona and Drummond, I don't love getting to them. Would rather get to the guards here. So to me, top plays are the guards, a little bit lower on the bigs here.
What are your thoughts on the Maxey ownership, like pushing 50%?
I think it's kind of proper, at the ownership. Maybe it's a little bit high, but I think he's one of the best guard plays on this slate, so it kind of checks out to me.
Yeah, like I don't want to talk people off him. I just think we have pretty good pivots. And again, I think Johnson in that same game, if you can afford it, is a really good option there. But I would not talk anyone out of playing Maxey here, obviously. I just think the field's going a bit heavy. Next game here, my Nets taking on the Cavs here in Cleveland. 229.5 point total. Cavs obviously going to be massive favorites here at home. Starting with the Nets, biggest news here is no Nick Claxton. He's going to be out. Ben Saraf back down with the G League. Other than that, nothing too significant. Let me say this. I do like Day'Ron Sharpe here. He is similarly owned as one Tyrese Maxey. Not the best matchup on paper, but he can get there even in limited minutes. I think the extra minutes he's seeing with no Claxton are really going to boost his upside here a lot, even in a difficult matchup. One of my favorite plays on the slate. Even if this game blows out, I think he's going to play the 28 or so minutes that we have him projected for, so no issues going to him. Other than that, it's tough. I'll be honest. It is a tough matchup. They're not resting as many guys as they do normally. First game back, obviously, this is a team that is tanking. You can make a case for Porter Jr., though. The point guard situation, I think, is going to be really annoying for us the rest of the year when both Devin and Traore are playing. They're both very talented. They're both underpriced for their ceilings. But night to night, I think one's going to fail and one's going to succeed. So you kind of have to get two things right. You got to play one and then have the right one. So it's kind of difficult for me to want to go there. Clowney has upside. I think he's a little bit underowned. Other than that, not a ton of interest here. I do like some of these guys, mostly just Sharp, though. A little bit of Clowney in tournaments. Jayhawk, how do you feel about the Nets?
Yeah, starting with Sharp, like you mentioned, I think he's pretty solid as a cash game play here. Tougher matchup, but still a great play. So I think Day'Ron probably correctly owns. I do like him a good chunk here. And then I did want to ask you about Danny Wolf down here. He's like, what, 1/10 of the ownership. Could come off the bench and play good minutes if Sharp is struggling. Did you have any interest in Wolf? And then Michael Porter, just one less thought here. I'm not too high on him, so it's mainly just the bigs here.
Yeah, the thing about Wolf, I know he's like listed at center when he was drafted, and he kind of plays every position. I don't mind him, but the price increase on him is a little bit crazy to me. 5,600 on DK, 53 on FanDuel. Like if he was 1K cheaper, I'd have more interest. And we also need to keep in mind, like a lot of those big games he's been having were with Clowney out. With Clowney back, he's definitely behind him on the depth chart, and they do give Clowney pretty consistent minutes. So I don't think it's insane, but I think on this slate where we have a lot of options in that range, he's not really someone I want.
Yeah, I'm with you. He seems a little bit tougher to get to.
Yeah, I'd rather go to Clowney as the starter, same price. And we know Clowney's risky, but the ceiling is there for him. Over on the Cleveland side of things, obviously they made some big moves at the deadline, getting rid of Darius Garland, bringing in James Harden. No significant injuries tonight unless you consider Max Strus to be significant. I personally don't. I like Donovan Mitchell here. I mean, he is a direct pivot off of Tyrese Maxey. This game would need to stay close, but we've seen it through these first few games. James Harden is going to be more of that true point guard, like he often is when he's playing alongside other All-Stars. I do think Mitchell is pretty appealing. We also just have to keep in mind that Mobley's back. The big games we were seeing out of Mitchell, a lot of those came with Mobley out. Now with him back in the lineup, it's going to make Mitchell a little bit less appealing, but also Jared Allen, who'd been smashing, much less appealing. So it's a good matchup for these guys. I do want a little bit of Mitchell. You can make a case for Harden, but like I said, night to night, I'm going to be playing Mitchell over him because Harden's going to be deferring to him on offense for the most part. But with Mobley back, just not a team I'm really rushing to, Jayhawk. Is there anyone on Cleveland you're keying in on?
Yeah, so 17-point spread here. I think Mitchell could get there even in a blowout here. So fine getting to some Mitchell. And I'm with you. I think Harden, if you want to take like a pivot to him, sure. But I think Mitchell's kind of the dominant guy here. So give me Mitchell. That's about it here for Cleveland for me.
Yep. Shouts out Rocket saying it's Day'Ron Day. We tend to agree. Unleash him. Could you fade him in Sharp in large field? Luke, on DK, it's tough. You're playing two centers. There's a few centers that we really like. Spoiler alert, Vucevic for Washington. We have Paul Reed for Detroit. If you're playing those two to get away from it, I think it's fine. But you want to be playing the top center plays tonight because point per dollar are all excellent. If Day'Ron struggles, Rocket's saying that's not possible. Hopefully that's not a jinx there. But let's go ahead and get into the next game here. At 7 o'clock, we have the Houston Rockets taking on the Charlotte Hornets. Hornets, a big story the first half of the season, really playing much better than I think a lot of people expected them to. Going to be fighting for a play-in and playoff spot for the rest of the season here. So they are underdogs at home, but only slight underdogs. Very low total, though, to 18.5 points. Starting with the Rockets, Steven Adams still out. Fred VanVleet going to be out as well. So they're pretty healthy for the most part. You can make a case for their quote-unquote big three, Thompson, Durant, Sengun. I don't really want to rush to any of them. I guess Durant, with all the narrative around his DMs and his group chats and his burner accounts, maybe you want to play that narrative. Other than that, I mean, Easton, Smith are fine. I have trouble getting to Shepard with those starting five healthy. But, yeah, I mean, it's not a great matchup. They're priced where they should be. At the same time, they are low-owned, Jayhawk. Are there any Rockets you're interested in here?
Yeah, so Houston, I think it's kind of an interesting spot. Not the best matchup, not the worst matchup. I think KD would be the preferred play here. Good price point both sides. And then if you want to mix in Sengun, Amen, I don't think it's crazy, but looking at like point per dollar, it's probably KD here for me. I did want to ask you about one guy down here, Jabari Smith, 1%. I know he's not like the best like point per dollar play, but did you have any interest in him down here?
Yeah, he's like kind of a shoulder shrug type play for me. Like I think the minutes are there. He probably gets you 35 fantasy points, which at his price is good. It's not going to kill you, but it's also not going to carry you. So like if I'm landing there, I'm fine with it. I actually think Eason for a little bit cheaper has the higher ceiling, but Smith's a good play. Like I think he's fine.
Yeah, he'd just be like a last piece in for me. I just wanted your thoughts on him.
No, I'm with you, man. Definitely a fair question there. I will just also mention this is a bit of a better matchup for Sengun with Diabate out as I transition to the Hornets here. No Musa Diabate, no Miles Bridges. Kobe White, who they traded for, still not available. But pretty interesting spot. I mean, Kalkbrenner probably going to get the start at center. I'm not really rushing to get to him, but it should create a little bit of extra usage for guys like Miller, Knuppel, maybe even Ball, whose minutes have ticked up a bit lately as the starter. Grant Williams, though, getting a ton of love here. He's a vet. He's going to be on the floor. If this game's competitive, we probably get 30 minutes out of him. I don't mind him as a value play. I don't love that he's power forward only, but at his price, I think he makes enough sense. I also think he could fall into a few rebounds here against Sengun and next to Kalkbrenner. So I'm fine with Grant. The model absolutely loves him. He is chalky, but one of the easier value plays to feel good about, I think, tonight. Other than that, like I said, you can mix in Miller, Ball, Knuppel, but that's pretty much it for me. And no Kalkbrenner, I will say. We have better center value on this slate. Jayhawk, how do you feel about the Hornets?
Yeah, Nick, Grant Williams in the big 2026 here. Pretty chalky, both sides. I think 4K, he's definitely a decent player, so kind of trying to match the field with Grant Williams here. And then Brandon Miller, LaMelo, and Colin. I think like if you want to take a stab at any of those three, you can mix them in GPPs, but it's mainly just Grant Williams for value here for me.
Yep, pretty much right there with you as far as these guys go. Let's go ahead now get into the next game here at 7 o'clock. We got some questions coming in on this one I'll be sure to get to. We got the Pacers taking on the Wizards, 232.5 point total. Pacers favored on the road. These are two teams who are tanking, so this is kind of interesting. We got the Pacers first. Very extensive injury report here. No Johnny Furphy, no Tyrese Halliburton, no Quentin Jackson, no TJ McConnell. Aaron Naismith is available. Talon Peter is probable up from the G League. Micah Porter is available. No Pascal Siakam. Ethan Thompson is probable. Obi Toppin's out. And Zubac, who they traded for, is going to be out here. So, I mean, a lot of this is expected. It's guys who've been out. The big news, obviously, is that there's no Siakam. I think Jarcy Walker looks excellent on both sides. Again, good matchup here. This game should be competitive, even though it's two bad teams. I like him a lot. And we also need to keep in mind they traded away Mathurin. With Mathurin off the floor, we've seen big boosts for both Siakam and Nembhard. Now with Siakam out, you have to imagine Nembhard is one to benefit in a big way. I like him a lot. He is very popular on both sides, but I feel pretty good about it. I think if you're playing low risk, cash games, anything like that, he is a very, very solid play. But again, Walker also really like. If Potter starts, I don't think he will. I wouldn't mind going to him a little bit. He's had some decent games lately. It's probably going to be Jay Huff here. And since he has forward eligibility on DK, I don't mind him. But I will say we have Sharp, we have Reed, we have Vukcevic, even Drummond if you wanted to play him. Like there's a lot of good centers in that price range. So tough for me to get to him. But on DK again, where he's forward eligible, I don't mind it. Jayhawk, how do you feel about the Pacers here?
Yeah, great breakdown, Nick. I think I'm pretty much co-aligned here with you. I think both Nembhard and Jers both look pretty solid on DK. Particularly Nembhard, though, no Siakam. Should get a bunch of shot attempts here. So love both those two in cash games. And then Jay Huff, super chalky, but I understand it. Like, good matchup. So fine with Huff. I don't know if I'm 40% excited there, but I think he's a pretty solid play. And then I'm with you. Micah Potter, he does seem like a logical pivot off of Jay Huff here. So like that shout and has a pivot in tournaments. After those guys, that's about it here. TJ McConnell's also out. I think you mentioned that, but another guy out here for
Yeah, we have McConnell in the model still, so if you guys are behind the paywall, obviously make sure you refresh. But that should open up minutes for a few guys. It's going to be Shepard. He's not really a true point guard, though. He's probably going to start. But Kobe Brown or Quentin Jackson could end up being really good value plays, but it's another situation of which one of the two. I will say the model prefers Brown, even though the more consistent minutes have been going to Jackson. We have them kind of flip-flops. Brown's getting 21. We have Jackson at 12. But I think you could play either of them, but I wouldn't want both in the lineup. But again, can you trust these guys on a Rick Carlisle team? Probably not. But let's go ahead and get into the Wizards now. Alexander Sarr is out. No AD, no D'Lo, no Trae Young, Cam Whitmore. I mean, half these guys weren't on the team before the trade deadline, so they're not exactly relevant that they're not going to be available. What is relevant is that they traded a few depth pieces away. And the bigger piece, obviously, of news here is that there's going to be no Alexander Sarr. Vucevic projected to get the start here at center, very cheap on DK on FanDuel. Same price, essentially, as Day'Ron Sharpe, so he's tougher to get to there. Similar price as Paul Reed. But again, on DK, where he's 1K cheaper, makes a ton of sense. Kind of surprised this team's not getting a little bit more love in terms of ownership. I know they've been benched at times in the fourth quarter, but the NBA did fine a bunch of teams for their weird tanking practices. You got to be more subtle about it, guys. Come on. So I don't know. I'm fine getting to some Trey Johnson, Kaishan George. If Champagne were to start, I wouldn't mind it. I don't think he will, though. Will Riley's been seeing more minutes as a punt. I don't necessarily love it, but you can make a case there. You know me, I'm a fan of Trey Johnson. He's kind of my guy, but at the price, I don't know. He's kind of neutral for me. But Vooch on DK, kind of a no-brainer. Decent tournament pivot on FanDuel. And then Kaishan George is always beasting as long as the minutes are there. We have him at just 24, though, so maybe proceed with caution. Tricky team to project, man, just because they are tanking. Got a lot of bench guys. But how do you feel about the Wizards?
Yeah, kind of to add on to the tanking, kind of want to target the guys that are, probably not going to be important to the team here. So Vucevic, I agree, super chalk. I think he's pretty safe. And then I do kind of like taking stabs at Will Riley here. And then Watkins down low, he should be super under-owned here. I think he could get some more minutes as well. But it's mainly just Vuk here for me, man. Do you think 60% is too high? Is that too low? What's your take there with the ownership?
I think it's a little too high just because we also have Reed and Sharp, and we have other centers. So if Vooch, who's been good, gets 25 to 30 fantasy points, but Sharp and Reed or another center in that range really goes off, there's plenty of paths for him not to be optimal. So I think point per dollar, he's the best center play, but I don't know, 60% feels a little bit crazy knowing you have a lot of good center plays.
Yeah, I feel I don't know if he's 60% chance to be optimal. I think we have better chances with the other center, so I'm with you.
Yeah, I tend to agree. We got a few questions here, most of them from our man Jose. So the reason we didn't talk about Drummond, the minutes for him have been tough. Bona could start. So again, if it was a smaller slate, I'd probably spend some time there. But again, behind Vucevic, behind Reed, behind Sharp, it's tough. Jayhawk, are you getting to any drum dog tonight?
Yeah, I looked at him. I'd almost rather get to Bona because I think Bona probably starts here from Philly. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan tonight.
Yeah, again, we have a lot of good options. Speaking of those options, do you have a preference between Vuk and Sharp? For me, it's Sharp. I just think the ceiling's much higher. But on DK point per dollar, Vucevic is the better play. You could just play them both, though. But if it's a FanDuel question, I would lean Sharp for the upside. But do you have a big lean there, Jayhawk?
I think if it's on FanDuel, it probably would be Sharp for me. DK, I'd say Vuk.
Yeah, more than 1K cheaper. Any love for Carrington? I mean, minutes, if they were more consistent or he was starting, I'd say yes. But again, big slate. I'm not crazy about him here. How about you, Jayhawk?
Yeah, I'm not super high on him. I think he's kind of a little bit more important to the rotation than some of the other guys. So.
Yeah, and again, I said if he starts, I actually think he will. But I don't know. He hasn't seen the same usage that I think we're hoping for. Obviously, guys like George being back, Trey Johnson taking more minutes and usage away from him, it's kind of capped his upside a little bit. But he's cheap, and for whatever reason, completely unowned. So I do think you should be more than 1% owned if you're playing a bunch of lineups. But let's go ahead now and get into the 7:30 window. We got the Pistons taking on the Knicks. I already mentioned Paul Reed a bunch because Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart are both out tonight. Not the best matchup here, obviously, against the Knicks, but at the same time, two of the better teams in the East. This game should be very competitive. Again, under a 220-point total, not ideal, but two teams that run pretty tight rotations. Starting with Detroit, again, they're missing their bigs. Paul Reed, under-owned, again, because we have Vucevic, because we have Sharp, still pushing 30%, but I actually love him here. I want to get to him over that number if I'm playing a bunch of lineups, and he will be in a bunch of my single-entry stuff on DK. Cade looks good. Again, a pivot off of a very chalky maxi. You're going to have to find the salary to get to him, but I don't mind him as a pivot. Other than that, it's tough. I mean, Tobias Harris and Osser, kind of borderline shoulder shrug type plays. But again, I love Paul Reed. I do think Cade is a very interesting tournament pivot. Those are the two I'm getting to, Jayhawk. How about you when it comes to the Pistons?
Yeah, I'm right here with you, Nick. I absolutely love Paul Reed today. He might be my favorite center play looking at ownership here. So love Paul Reed, both sides. And then I think Cade, matchup isn't necessarily great, but usage should be very high here. So fine with Cade in tournaments. And then I think I'm a little bit higher on Tobias than you, just with Noah Stewart here. I think his minutes should be a little bit safer. So like Tobias, a good chunk here as well.
Yeah, I don't mind it. And again, shooters tend to shoot well in the garden. Tobias is a shooter. I mean, if you're looking for another reason to play him. But yeah, over on the Knicks side of things, OG's probable. Miles McBride's still out. Other than that, nothing too significant we really need to talk about here. OG was missing time before the break. It's good to see he's back here and healthy. Maybe not so much for our fantasy prospects, though. But yeah, I mean, Cat, Brunson, they're fine. Again, with OG back, I'm not rushing to the wings in OG, Hart, or Bridges. They're all viable. The interesting guy as a dart, I guess, would be Alvarado. I think they are going to want him to play more minutes here against Cade. But at the same time, I have trouble projecting him over 20. We have him at 19. He's dirt cheap and unowned if you're looking for someone with a little bit of upside that no one's going to play. But a very, very risky play. Just keep that in mind. But he could close here if this game's close. So just wanted to shout him out. But yeah, no real priorities. I do think Cat's too cheap on DK, but again, center's loaded. Jayhawk, how do you feel about the Knicks here?
Yeah, Nick, I'd love to get to Cat here. It's just very difficult. Such a big slate. I think I'd almost rather get to him on FanDuel with the forward eligibility. So be more on FanDuel for me for Cat. But yeah, maybe OG, if you want to take a stab there, would be my play here. He should have to guard Cade most of the game here, but it's kind of a tougher team to target here, Nick.
Yep, right there with you, man. Again, good game to watch. Maybe not the best game for DFS. That tends to be kind of a thing. A few quick comments and questions here. Merrill, what do we think of him? With this team getting healthy, I'm not crazy about it. He could always get hot from three. Any Sam Merrill love for you tonight, Jayhawk?
Probably not. I think we have safer like value guards. So no Marrow for me personally.
Yeah, and speaking of value, our man Power is back here asking about Talon Peter. I don't. We didn't reproject, or I didn't refresh since TJ McConnell got ruled out, but I wasn't really getting to any. That's kind of a thin value play in my opinion. Again, I think Carlisle is giving Cam Jones more minutes, and I don't know, Ben Shepherd, Quentin Jackson. It's tough for me to get to Peter. He's been playing well, but like I don't know, I don't really see it.
Yeah, I don't see it either.
Yeah, Naismith being in, I think, hurts Peter. If Naismith was out and McConnell was in, I actually think Peter would be more interesting than he is right now. Can you play Cat and Brunson together? I mean, the thing is, you need that game to really go off. It has a 220-point total. You could play them together. I don't know that I love it, Jayhawk. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, if you're gonna play them together, my only thought would be probably to run it back with at least one Detroit, whether that's Reed or Cade. But I don't love playing them together. Like if you're building, a couple lineups.
Yeah, it's such a big slate. Like for them both to hit ceilings, it's going to be kind of tough. Craig Porter in a blowout for Cleveland, he would be the guy. I just think we have enough value on the slate that we don't need it. Any love for you there, Jayhawk? It's not a bad idea. I mean, I get it.
Yeah, I understand the concept, the idea there, but yeah, we have safer guard plays. It seems a little bit like stretching it there.
Yeah, they also added two guards at the deadline. Keep in mind, Keon Ellis, really good defender. They want to give him some minutes. And they also have Schroeder now, too. I don't think they want to give Schroeder a ton of blowout time, but it could cut into Porter. There's the backup. So making decent time, even with the delay, guys. We'll make sure to get through all these games here. Just a couple left. First, we got the Raptors taking on the Bulls in Chicago. Raptors favored on the road here, 233.5-point total. Starting with Toronto, Sandro is questionable. Murray Boyles is probable. No AJ Lawson if he matters to you. But yeah, kind of a healthy team here. Good matchup, though. I think you can definitely make a case for any of their key starters. Most popular is going to be RJ Barrett. He does feel underpriced. He was kind of priced to be playing limited minutes, but now that he's over 30, I do like him a lot. He also fills a thin, small forward position. I can always make a case for quickly Ingram Barnes. I don't know that I necessarily need to here with all the good pay-ups we have, but quickly getting a ton of love on FanDuel where he's too cheap. Also, shooting guard eligibility. I don't mind it. Jakob Podol, who's been out for a while, is back here and in the lineup. Again, tons of good center plays tonight. I don't want to really get to him. But yeah, man, I think quickly Barrett, Ingram, Barnes all make some sense. Barrett, very popular. I get it. It's small forward. He's cheap. But how do you feel about the Raptors?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good spot here overall for Toronto. You mentioned that RJ Barrett getting most of the ownership here. I think he's probably my favorite play. In cash games, he probably looks better there. I'm probably going to try to get away in tournaments with that ownership. So, like RJ, more in cash games. And then the guy that I think I like the most here is Scotty Barnes. 9% owned, like his ceiling in tournaments. So, it's mainly just Scotty in tournaments. Some Barrett as well for me.
Yeah, I totally get it. I mean, ceiling for Scotty's always there. He's never as popular as he should be. Really good matchup. Over on the other side here, we got the Chicago Bulls. Josh Giddey, who'd been out, is back, as is Trey Jones. Mac McClung, who bowed out of the dunk contest for whatever reason, is now back down with the G League. They traded Vooch away. Jalen Smith is now their starting center, and he is probable. I don't know, man. Not a great matchup here. Excuse me. With Giddey coming back, like it's going to be tougher to get to the guards who had been playing pretty well. Buzelis has been playing well, but I don't know. Against Toronto, there's just no one standing out. Again, when a team gets healthy on a slate where teams are resting players, they're all just kind of priced efficiently. It makes them tough to get to, and that's how I feel about Chicago here. I do have interest in Jalen Smith if it was a different slate, if we knew he'd play 30 minutes, but he's been playing limited minutes. And we have a lot of good centers. So really nothing from Chicago I'm rushing to. Jayhawk, how about you?
Yeah, kind of with you here. No conviction plays, even at the low ownerships. Even like Josh Giddey, 4%. I think he's kind of properly owned. So yeah, I don't really have much interest at all here with Chicago. Tougher spot for sure.
Sorry, just answered a delivery guy there. All right, so yeah, we're through that game. On to the next now. I believe this is the last game on our main slate. So again, made really good time today. We're 10 minutes late. Appreciate you guys being back. We are back now through the end of the NBA season into the playoffs. We got MLB right around the corner, UFC this weekend as well. So even with the end of football, even with NHL Offer Olympics, tons of sports going on right now. Get in that Occupy Discord. Check out the links in the description below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Without further ado, last game on the slate, we got the Suns taking on the Spurs in San Antonio. 230.5 total. Spurs, our favorite at home. Starting with Phoenix. Grayson Allen, questionable. Dylan Brooks, suspended. He's out. No Cole Anthony. Mason Plumlee's out. I don't know how relevant he is. Some of these names are just surprising to see because they're guys who got traded for contracts. But yeah, man, no Brooks means more usage for everyone else. Booker, Gillespie, fine. Allen, if he's in, is overpriced coming off the bench, so I don't really want to get there. Even on FanDuel, kind of surprised he's 15% owned. But also keep in mind, Jalen Green is back and healthy now. On FanDuel at 4,600, limited minutes. I don't know, man. If we get finally the first game he plays 25, we have him for 22. I think he's too cheap. I don't think it's crazy to maybe mix him in. Gillespie getting the most love on FanDuel. He's underpriced. Booker, to me, another good tournament play just because he has a high ceiling. But I don't know. I'm all over the place on the Suns team because it's tough to really project the rotations now that Green is projected to start and Brooks is out. It's a lot of moving parts here against a tough defense. High total, though. But yeah, nothing really standing out to me other than maybe Gillespie at his price on FanDuel. How do you feel about Phoenix?
Yeah, where's the douche when we need him, man? It's tough to break down here for Phoenix, but I'm kind of with you. I think the guards here, probably the best plays. Kind of a tougher spot for the big. So Gillespie, probably my favorite even on FanDuel at the ownership. So I'd probably go Gillespie, then Booker, and then Jalen Green. But it's not a team I love, targeting heavily here.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. The Spurs, another team that's pretty healthy, honestly. No one too significant on the injury report. So it is what it is. They're all kind of priced where they should be. Wemby, who'd been playing limited minutes, I think that minutes cap should be lifted now at this point. We have him for 31, pushing 32 here tonight. It is a good matchup for him, and no one is playing him. If you can afford Wemby, easier to get to on FanDuel where he has forward eligibility. Not a bad play in tournaments. Castle, Fox, you can make cases for them. But again, with this team getting healthy, I think they're all kind of priced where they should be. Devin Vassell, are his minutes going to come up? They should. Will they? I think that's kind of yet to be seen. I don't know. I like Dylan Harper, the player. Just the minutes have been so inconsistent. Other than Wemby as like a tournament play just to get different, there's nothing really for me from San Antonio. Jayhawk, how about you?
Yeah, it's mainly just the usage monster himself, Wemby here. If you want to get contrarian at center, I think he's always in play. Outside of that, like Fox, Castle, kind of tough to get to today with all the great plays. So I'm with you. It's mainly just Wemby.
Yeah, Be Legendary calling me out here, rightfully so, though. He said, when I say tournament play, with most being tournament plays, what do we mean? So when I say it, I mean, I got to put some context in. I'm talking about higher risk contests when I say tournament, like big field, multi lineup entry. I play mostly single entry, and if I'm saying a guy's like a good tournament play, it usually means a way to get different. Generally speaking, cash game, small field stuff, we should be calling those low risk. Multi entry stuff, very large field, top heavy payouts are high risk. But it's a good question, be legendary. Again, we're talking tournaments for the most part, unless we mention that someone's a cash play, but again, in tournaments, we're trying to get a little bit different. When I say it, usually that's what I'm meaning. If I'm assuming you're calling me out, Sean here asking what team do you stack? I mean, that's tricky because if one guy is really going off, it could cut into the upside of others. What I will say is whoever's ruling out the most players is usually where you want to go for stacking. So tonight, who do we have? It's like the Wizards are missing Sar, the Pacers are missing some key guys. Again, if you're stacking, look to teams that are missing a lot of key pieces. Is there anyone for you, Jayhawk, a team that you're really leaning into?
I think the Pacers are really good to stack up like 2, 3. The Sixers, I think you maybe could. Outside of those two, it's not maybe Washington, but yeah, probably one of those three.
Yeah, I mean, Philly would be the one, too, for me that stands out with no George or Embiid. I think you could probably load up there a little bit. But yeah, again, if you're stacking a team, you're hoping that game goes off. Usually you want to run it back with something from the other side in NBA. On a big slate like this, it's tough for a lot of guys on one team to really hit a ceiling. Shouts out Power letting us know that Drummond is starting. And yeah, be legend. I know you're not calling me out. It's all friendly. I'm just wording it that way. You're good, my man. Merrick saying, ooh, I don't know if that's on the comment or Drummond starting. Either way, we really appreciate you guys being back. It has been my mouth is dry. I got to get used to talking this much again. But appreciate having you on, Jayhawk, so we could go back and forth and I can catch my breath and bring your takes as well. But let's go ahead and get into the dummy builds now. Where are we starting tonight? Who are your first kind of few pieces in?
Man, it's difficult now. I think we both really like Paul Reed in tournaments. We could go there. Vukovic is super cheap. Did you like any of those centers?
I mean, that's the question, right? I think most people actually go with Sharp and Vucevic, but I do like Paul Reed enough to play him over either. I think Sharp, I'm going to go with Sharp. I'll lean on my Nets bias here, but if we need salary later, I'm very comfortable going down to Vucevic. I think he's a really good play, obviously. But those are the three centers I think we agree we're really keying in on. Maybe since we're not playing Vooch, we do want something from this Washington team. I don't know. Probably not. I don't know. I know you like Maxey. I don't mind him. I do think he's kind of chalky, but I'm pretty comfortable going there. You also have Jalen Johnson as a pay up. Is there anyone like you're really trying to pay up for?
If we're playing a cash game lineup, I'd probably say Maxey. If we're doing a tournament lineup, I think we can get away if you want to.
Yeah, so maybe let's hold off on the pay up, see where we land. Let's see what's really chalky right now. Vucevic is the most popular play on the slate. I mean, Jarcy Walker, I think, if I'm pronouncing that right or not, is a very good play. And I'll also throw in Grant Williams. Again, Charlotte's just very thin in the front court. Grant's going to be out there. Hopefully it's not just for cardio. But yeah, I think point per dollar, he's pretty good. So honestly, it's going to be tough, but maybe we do the game stack here. Let's go with Maxey and Jalen Johnson, see what kind of value we need to play in these last two spots. We're left with 4,200 for a shooting guard and just a guard in general. So this isn't terrible.
Yeah, I mean, we could we mentioned Riley. We touched on Washington. We have Sharif Cooper, who's low owned. Riley's low owned.
Let me check the model real quick. Traore from my Nets is decent play here. Will Riley is the other one, but he's forward only on DK. I guess we go Traore and see what that leaves us. But again, like I said, there's going to be good Traore nights and bad Traore nights. On those bad Traore nights, we probably have really good Igor nights. It's going to be tough to deal with those two the rest of the year. Two really talented young players, though. 3,900 for a last piece in. I mean, Ben Shepherd probably starts for Indy. I guess he'd be my guy there, right?
Yeah. I think if you wanted to be a little bit more flexible, maybe come off of one of Maxey or Jalen and kind of pivot around.
Yeah, or again, we could downgrade Sharp to Vuk, like we said, and then we would be able to upgrade Shepherd to, I don't know, something better than Ben Shepherd probably.
Yeah.
Reed Shepherd, and keep it in the family there. Obviously, they're related. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, you guys see where we're at there. Quick over to FanDuel now. Again, guys, we got Smitty going live in the Discord. We try not to overlap today. We are because we were late on the video. Is what it is. Center here, I think Sharp point per dollar makes almost too much sense. I do like Paul Reed, but I don't know. Sharp 54, tough to get away from. Throw some names at me, man. Obviously, we're up against the clock.
Let's go Jarris again. He's super chalky. I like him a lot on FanDuel. We didn't get to Nimhard. Do you like him today? He's pretty
I love him. Yeah, I would have played him on. If you wanted to come down from Maxi and upgrade something, Nemhard's one of my favorite plays.
Me too. I love it. Let's see. Gillespie is pretty chalky over here. Do you
I'm fine with that.
Okay, let's go. Let's see what else here.
Take a quick look. Ownership. And again, this is before some of the news we got, but Maxi, I don't know. Since we played him on DK, we can leave him out here. I think Williams is still good.
Yeah.
Maybe Oubre since we're not playing Maxi.
Love it. Yeah, I think both those guys are solid.
And again, we're probably going to have room for a pay up or two. 86K. We got 2 shooting guard spots. I don't know. I do like Miller. We could move Nemhard. Edgecombe. Maybe just lean into that pivot off of Maxi, get 2 Philly guys in there. We could pretty much play whatever we want. Even like a Wemby or Jalen Johnson here. I would lean Jalen Johnson. But being able to fit either is fine. And then 78, again, Brendan Miller. This looks
perfect. Good. Yeah, love that.
Cool. Let's check if we had any last minute questions. What question, Rocket? Did we miss it? Hurry up. We're trying to get out of here. Tell us what it is. No, I'm just kidding. I'm scrolling up. I still don't see it, man. If you got it, let me know, and I'll answer it. But while we wait for Rocket Sauce, if you're still here, Jay, any last words before we get out of here? Again, appreciate you, my man. Feels great to be back.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you. It's nice to be back here. Fun slate. Make sure to mix around your centers. Lots of good ones tonight. So, yeah.
Benny or Paul Reed? Who's Benny?
Benny, I don't know the answer to that. Let's see.
You're killing me, man. Who the hell is Benny?
I'm looking at Benny. I was thinking Benny Mather, and that's what I thought when he said that. But
he's on the Clippers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the late slate, man. It's not even on this slate, my brother. Paul Reed for sure, though. Mathurin very scoring dependent. Minutes are in flux with his new team. And again, guys, we didn't have time for those late games. Jokic is in. Played a ton of Jokic. Kawhi's kind of running the show now for the Clippers. You can go there. No Sabonis. Play Raynaud. You can play Cardwell. I mean, I don't know. This is what it is, guys. We're doing the main slate here. So get in the Discord. We can talk through those late games. Also, you get access to the model here, which will have data for those late games. Once again, everyone, appreciate you being here. Have fun. Welcome back. Take care, and good luck.
Good luck, guys.